Hello everybody, welcome to Commentary Workshop number 1, a video where I talk about commentary and my progress as a commentator and what I need to fix. And the way I do that is by watching VODs. But this time I'm going to share it with everybody. I'm going to watch the VODs and then I'm going to talk about it while you guys are here. So I'm going to upload these to YouTube probably intermittently over time, and then I can use them to kind of journal what's going on. I like that I have the podcast that me and Squeaks are doing that I can use to journal my thoughts, and our process is becoming a bigger podcast. And with this, I've got commentary, which is a focus of my life right now, and I figure I might as well share and be transparent about my progress there as well. And I feel like this will also help me improve. I do, to be 100% real, listen to my VODs when I'm traveling in between days. Sometimes on the plane, I'll save a VOD to be able to play back or something, just so that I can figure out what I need to change in between events, or if I find that I sounded nothing like I thought I did in my head, which is a big thing. And I think that's with other commentators, I don't know, but you know, there's a lot of weird stuff about audio. Sometimes it's the mic that picks you up when you're there, how the mic is mixed. Sometimes it's your voice that you hear in your head versus the one you think you're projecting, which is different to other people. And sometimes it's a combination of those things. So good to watch the VODs. Commentary is tough. It's live. And I feel like there's events where I've done really well and I was happy about my commentary. And then I went to watch the VOD and I was like, what the fuck? How the hell did that happen? That was not the commentary I thought I put out. And then there's other ones where I wasn't so sure. And I went back to listen to it. I was like, damn, that actually sounded pretty good. I was coherent. I didn't stutter as much as I thought. Everything was succinct. It was good. So I picked a couple of VODs. This one is DreamHack Winter 2018, which from my memory was one where we had a lot of games that I think were good. I was very happy about them. I think that sounded good afterwards. I did talk extensively with the audio engineer that was there, and they made it so that my mix wasn't too hot and that the kind of deeper tones of my voice came out across well on the mic, and my vocabulary was decent when I was listening to it, or at the time I thought it was. There wasn't a lot of stuttering or brain fogginess, which is something that I've been working on. And I thought the analysis was pretty good too. So this is a random game I picked. It's Ents versus G2.
Get it and goes down. I was a close round.
Might be something like a semi-final.
Involved. It was a straight up cat
and we're just gonna listen to this, and then I'll probably just look at some things I think were good, things I think were bad, and see if it matched up to the way I remembered.
So a good pistol for them. It's going to be an explosive D2. I am so excited to watch this map. I think a lot of people had low hopes for D2 in the map pool coming back into it, but we've had some of the best matches that we've ever seen.
So right away, I think it sounds okay. It's a little bit tinny. It's a little bit breathy. I think one thing I realized recently, especially, is that I need to slow it down to the way I normally talk in real life. So sometimes, depending on how excited I am, I can talk quickly, but a lot of the times I feel like I've kind of a big voice and I like to enunciate, but when I'm casting, and I'm not really nervous. I don't really get nervous anymore, I would say. But I guess if I become aware of my casting while I'm casting, then I can start to think I've got to talk faster with more energy. And technically, I can convey that energy without speaking super quickly. And I feel like that would be more conducive to my personality. And I should try to bring that out more. So right here, I'm hearing kind of like a tinny sounding voice. It's maybe on the higher end. I should probably try to bring it down a little bit lower and speak a little bit more slowly.
I think it'll be pretty exciting. An eco round here for Ents. A scout is bought for Sergey. I have the temptation to try to.
Okay, I didn't know his name was pronounced. At the time, I wasn't exactly sure if his name was pronounced Sergey or Sergey. I'm sorry.
Say it without making it an extra syllable.
All right, that's fair.
Sergey.
Just cut it all down.
Yeah.
Cut it all down, like the Mac-10 should.
Cat was the easy rotation. If they had mid-control, they could work their way up Cat, and the rotations from CT spawn were not going to be favorable.
That's what I'm seeing. Like the rotations from CT spawn, I can tell that I'm speaking in a certain way. I'm like very aware of my voice at the moment, which is probably good. I think it's not coming across the way exactly how I thought it would.
But because there's 2 opening kills for the USPs, it makes things a little bit more trying. The Ts want to try to even up first, and now they've done that, so they can start to make a move.
Okay, so that's not bad. you know, as they start to make a move, we're into the round. Connor can take the pass off. Obviously, it's just an eco, so it's not that serious. But I think a lot of things I'm hearing are in the right direction. It's just that I am not speaking with a deep enough voice, as it's not accurate to the way I sound right now, for example.
His teammate already tagged to 47. This is a rapid third round for ENCE.
Wow, that was amazing. Really solid kill there in the third to seal this round up, it seems like, as now ENCE have put G2 in a very awkward spot. kennyS defending A by himself and gets one kill, doesn't know that there's nobody else coming up cat quick, but decides to reposition.
Once again, I can hear the enunciation, which is good, because I think the inflection, I should say, because I think one big criticism I have of myself is just how kind of it can sound like I'm droning on if I talk for too long. And part of that is because my voice is so deep, so it's like really hard for me to escape that. But that can be fought if I have a good amount of inflection. I go up and down, and I can see that's what I'm trying to do. I'm like looking into a mind of myself back in 2018. It was also earlier on in the VOD, and it depends if it's like, you know, the first game of the day. It could be that I was warming up as well. But if, you know, just go to the middle and see if I'm starting to get warmed up, my voice sounds any different.
And try to slip this bomb in somewhere.
Yeah, so this is when I think the CD setup is the strongest, where you can just play 2-2 sites, and you don't have to worry about mid, which is always so stressful as a CT. And instead, just wait for them to pick a choke point and then try to continually get that 2-on-1 advantage. So as for
Let's listen to that one more time and see if I could deliver that better right now.
for ENCE, they'll be giving up. You can just play 2-2 sites, and you don't have to worry about mid, which is always so stressful as a CT.
So you don't have to worry about mid, which is always so stressful as a CT. I think that's how I should have delivered that, like gone on a downslope with my voice as opposed to ending or getting to the middle of my sentence, almost asking a question.
Instead, just think the CD setup is the strongest, where you can just play 2-2 sites, and you don't have to worry about mid, which is always so stressful as a CT. And instead, just wait for them to pick a choke point and then try to continually get that 2-on-1 advantage. G2 don't have the best guns ever. The most important advantage, I think, is that Sergey is also low on HP.
Yeah, the two worst weapons, the CZ and MP9, are the ones.
Obviously, as they're coming up to long, that's what I'm just trying to end the thought. I mean, part of this is also trying to fill and be interesting at the same time. Sometimes there's a good time to not say anything and like let the silence hang, and that's totally fine. And the whole point of having a duo is that you know when to be comfortable doing that. And then sometimes it can be a lot of silence and you kind of need to fill. But part of the job is to try to be able to fill that time, but not kind of ruin anyone's experience while they're listening.
Olu clears it, but with 8 seconds left over, kennyS is going to try to just push this and deny the plant. Can he get it? No, but he is right on top of it as his teammate gets the last kill, so it's an easy retake.
I gotta say, even for Connor, his voice has improved quite a bit since the last VODs that I watched recently of Blast in Blast Miami and DreamHack Rio. I think it's been myself that I've been more critical of than anything else.
Considering ENCE had so little time, considering...
And we'll go see those after.
Another tough situation, much harder than last round. They've also got the op, which again, you know, in the 5v5 is the weapon you want to have, but in this situation, not so much. And now they've got to factor in their economy into their decisions. They've got to figure out, do they want to try to go for this retake, or do they want to obtain grain and hold on to these guns with some money left over next round? And it seems like they're going to go for the latter option, which makes so much sense. But it's going to be nice for G2 to know that they can just get this for free.
So I do feel a little cursed that I know...
Does that get bread?
Obtain grain, yeah. Let's get that bread. I do know that like I have this curse of sounding tired when I'm not tired, or sounding unenthusiastic when I am enthusiastic. I think I have to overemphasize, but I have to do that while still sounding genuine. I think that's my biggest demon, is that I think I have a good voice. It's just it can be so it can feel as if I'm uninterested when you listen to me talk.
Are you? Oh my God, we're learning.
Must obtain grain.
That clicked with me, Launders.
And then I do like dry humor, so sometimes I am specifically delivering like that on purpose. It's just that I, would like to be prepared for stadium casts, which are just as easy for me in some sense. Like, I'm not uncomfortable. It's mostly the disconnect between how I think I sound and how I sound afterwards.
They're not quite sure if or how many of G2's members are in position, and the answer is 4. They have that.
This is where it all started for ENCE, by the way. They won DreamHack Winter, and then they went on to get top 2 at the major.
At one solo lower tunnel lurk.
Yeah, with a 2-on-2, ENCE called right out the gate that it's most likely going to be a B split. That's not the case.
Alden's going to get his chance. He finds Body off the front, then misses his second shot. So he has killed the safety of the corner, but he has allowed them entry. The bomb is...
So here, it's going to be a very important round. It's going to be a very important end of the round. And right before that execution, I had a small comment just to help Connor break up his 2 sentences, but not to take over any of the play-by-play. So now I want to know, when I come in at the end of this, am I meeting his energy as the play-by-play at the end of a very important round?
They've held on to long, but it's cat and mid that belongs to G2.
And he now knows that one player's elbow as well.
So the AK tries to pepper off on the box, tries to elicit the peek from Lucky. You know he's feeling the heat in this position, but so are the bomb carriers, because now that Molotov is directly on point, and Kenny has nailed another. It's down to just Sergey. The follow-up shots from Kenny S have kept G2 in this one, and again, ENCE fall short. 8 HP the difference here. They'll save one.
Starts to cool off since it doesn't all end with kills on the site.
Only going to take one more round to tie things up.
Wow, that was unbelievable. That was a really nice shot. What are we looking at, 26 or 28 kills for Kenny S? That is a pretty strong stat line for him. He is actually up to, it looks like scoreboard's not quite updated. I'm sure I saw on the screen at least 26, 25 there.
One round below, that'd be 28.
There we go. Okay.
Is it? Yes, sir. Quick math.
Okay, so maybe I didn't have anything of substance to say about the execute. I think if I remember correctly, there was a lot of cat takes this game, but I could hear myself reaching there, so looking for a stat like that, and maybe there wasn't a big takeaway. There could have been some other reason. Usually do have something to say if something happened. But in terms of the energy, it cooled off because it wasn't everybody dies on the site. It wasn't a bomb explosion with the last second defuse. It was a player saving, even though the explosion onto the site was pretty kind of...
Pretty nutty stuff.
Yeah, pretty nutty stuff.
He's fine taking a risk here, knowing that there probably isn't anybody waiting in their default. Does he expect long control to occur, and then is it his play to try to late flank? If he does do this, he could lock this round up for...
Okay, so got a little wordy in the sentence right before the end there. I did take a nice break, and it came back, but I should be aware of run-on sentences or just connecting sentences with and.
Minimal investment, and Ariel has gotten worried. He got cold feet, decided to peek early, and now the smokes will come out. G2, strong opportunity to strike.
And this is a horrifying prospect for ENCE as well. I mean, they will hold on for dear life here, Launders.
Yeah. Could be an important shot, and it's not hit. Great strafe to fall back, and he's low on HP, but it looks like that's all he'll get. Out of the round, both ops down.
It looks like that's all he'll get. I kind of want to have a stronger finish to that sentence, I feel like. And also, just because of the round score right now, even though it wasn't all that exciting, we're into the very last moments of the game, or at least of regulation. I should have had more energy there.
Could be an important shot, and it's not hit.
An important shot goes wide. X7 stays alive, gets Shocks out of the round, and now we wrap this one up. It's really on him and Sergey to try to save their ops. If they can't, it's going to be too expensive for them to come back into and buy next. This could be last chance saloon here for ENCE. Something like that.
Fall back, and he's low on HP, but it looks like that.
And if I started off with a little bit more energy, that would have been more exciting to get into the... To continue on when the shots actually happened. It'd be a lot easier to scale up to that.
Out of the round, both ops down, and ENCE at 14-14. This is not looking good for them. If we look at this half now, we're seeing that G2 are certainly favored in the next two. ENCE, do they even have money? It seems like they...
I'd like to see actually another VOD here.
They're in a mid-round. If you need to, and Sergey gets 2 kills, sees 2 more.
This is another game from DreamHack Winter 2018, and it's another ENCE versus G2 game. Should be interesting. This time he's on overpass.
Probably by a player who wanted to finish Sergey off, so was happy to fight. Unbeknownst to him, it was a new player with a full HP bar.
Whoops.
Whoops, indeed.
Tongue twisters. Pistol round. Whoa. Okay. Ants do the same thing on their sorts of pistol round. Whoa. Okay.
I don't even remember that.
Hey, hey, Mr. Kringle.
I think we've been gnomed.
I'm not a gnoblin. I'm a gnome. You, Ben? Gnome.
Stanford prison experiment.
Right.
You know, we're putting on the clothes and we like actually feel like it's Christmas right now.
It's a year's worth of events. All, you know, the craziness is all culminating here in Jönköping. We're too close to home. Swedes are letting loose. That's a dangerous aspect.
Okay, that was a funny bit. That was partially because of DreamHack, also partially because Connor and I have like a similar sense of humor, which is good because I think for some of those moments, especially in fills and stuff, we can make each other laugh, which I think is one of the best parts about our duo in specific.
All right, jump spot from the dice box. Kenny Yass, let's light it up. He doesn't have an op, unfortunately. This would be a great round to see what he can do with the op. I mean, this is what you kind of picture in your mind's eye when you think of Kenny Yass on overpass.
This is what you picture in your mind's eye when you think of Kenny Yass on overpass. Just a bit better with the inflection, I think would be good. But overall, I like how my voice sounds much more here.
It's just him working these angles to perfection. He does have something good at range, though, and that's the silenced M4 and some support.
It was just a bit goofy on the goofy side, and some of my plosives were getting caught in the mic, or my mic was just generally too close to my mouth.
To help him out.
Ooh, nice flash. He is full white.
Bomb plant to like bait Kenny S into a peak that he doesn't want to get into, and then he did a great job of keeping space around this box. And one thing that's kind of hard to notice is that he moves back towards the truck.
He does a good job of keeping space around this box, and one thing you'll notice is as he moves back, I think it's my voice is kind of up here a little bit when I'm talking at the cast, which means that I'm talking too much from my throat and I need to focus more on my diaphragm.
The box to make sure that if there's any tricky shoulder peek, he's going to be the first person to get vision, and that's just Shox. He's got great movement. Yeah, it's been anything but this game, right?
Over and over, whether it be spams through smoke. I feel like it's law of attraction. You know, you call yourself lucky and you're going to get the shit end of the stick.
It's DreamHack, so we're allowed to swear lightly.
Hero week.
Nice and methodical here from Sergey. No rush. Minute 15 still to play.
So a lot of attention over towards this other half of the map. And that Molotov is going to help him feed into the fear that maybe it'll finally be a B execution, but see the bomb just postured up with A hit. I fully expect, you know, them to be slow on the rotations if it is going to be an execute. Jack's going to be quite confused. He wants to turn tail and run as soon as possible if it's going to be some kind of fake. And Kenny S has been smoked out of position.
All right, their handoff. That actually sounded a lot better. It's just turning up the volume, honestly, that it sounded better. But still, I guess I could hear a little bit more clearly that when the volume's lower, I can tell I'm speaking more from the throat. So I could probably get a lot more out of speaking more from the diaphragm, even if it's going to be played at a lower volume.
Oh no, that's a critical duel. 3v3. You
Stairs
think for
control.
sure Sergey gets caught off guard. They've picked good angles. They know where the fights are coming. That is G2. But that's when they've got to win. Shox went hero mode with those 2 CZ frags, but it might not be enough. It might be all for naught. Now they're taking a small risk here in X7, who feels confident making a lurk play out. And he's gained a pretty intimidating amount of ground. But it looks like Body's waiting for
this. Is slightly bumpy, but this is how I want my voice to sound all the time, to be honest. This actually sounds pretty close to how I'm picturing it when I'm casting.
No support for either of these players, but if the bomb arrives in time, then it's a 2v1 on B.
You know what? They throw a flash over while X7's already out here. Maybe Body moves. Who knows?
And Kenny just arrived, I realized.
Oh,
he's over on graffiti. There's a play up towards the A site that's not going to be coming into fruition. Body's going to extend up. He can't deny the bomb plant, but he can catch the player over the shoulder. The plant is there. Oh, the health is still enough for Sergey to catch a headshot. Alu's now ready to hit him from above. He could be the guardian angel playing out from heaven. They're on the bomb site. They're near it. But they seem to know. Shox has his eyes backwards. Oh, Kenny from behind. I didn't catch the radar. He just gets blown apart, and Sergey with 19 health has to catch these last two. They're gonna think he moves over to short, but he's actually here on Monster, and they found him.
Oh my God, does he have a kit?
Yes,
okay,
he does.
He does. Wow, just in time. I have no idea what happened there, like how they knew he was up in heaven, but keeping tabs on him was obviously very, very important. I thought that round was sealed up. Wanted to really talk about, first of all, Shox, fantastic round for him. You know, all 3 frags, super important. Almost lost this duel, and if he did, they could have very easily just lost straight up. But it was Sergey who had that sick peek, man.
Yeah.
That sick peek. He's crouching backwards, showed just as much bodies, and he's been so good on the peaks in general. It's like hard to stop talking about it.
That was okay. Thanks for the replay, because we didn't actually spectate how the flank went out, which is pretty much the crux of the round for both teams. And so I needed the replay to be able to reroute that conversation. But yeah, that was all right. So why don't we go ahead and compare that to some of the newer VODs? Then there's some better casting moments in general. These are just random ones from random games that we're watching. But yeah, let's go ahead and check out some of DreamHack Rio's last VODs. Some of the VODs from DreamHack Rio. There was a specific style of casting that I attempted in this. Now, at Rio, I mean, no Johns, but I really hurt my back. I couldn't exercise. And when I go to events, I run every single morning. I eat a really good breakfast and everything. At Rio, I was just focused on sleeping and then hoping my back wasn't completely blown out in the morning, and then going in, chugging a Monster, and then going to the cast. And I still felt okay, but I do think that there's certain boxes I check on days where I want to have my best performance possible. And then I like to make sure that I can say I did those things, and I look at this, and then I can compare fairly to another day where I felt kind of at my best performance, where I had the most mental clarity, the most energy, and so on. That's something I specifically focused on a lot recently. Okay, so this is Avangard versus Valiance, and this is from DreamHack Rio 10 days ago.
Did a good job of finding timing that.
So look how much high. Okay, so already Connor sounds so much higher.
They didn't necessarily create. It was just Fitch moves his crosshair right before he dies.
He starts walking, yeah.
Yeah, Sanji kind of, he'd been in and outside of the door, but takes a duel versus 3 as he's outside of it. And even Kickert now cleared from spawn. So hell of a round for Valiance, but I don't know if you realize.
Just punched his high five.
Yeah, next is the hero getting those entries, but the spots were perfect from Avangard. They had ladder room control. That would have been it.
So the style of casting. So I sound different. Connor sounds different. The style of casting that I remember trying here that I wanted to watch back was I was attempting more of a sports commentary type of casting, which is a bit more patient, and it's a bit more X moves into this position. Here comes a flash overhead. The opposition will move forward. It's kind of a more formal style of casting, but I think it fits my voice. I enjoy doing it, and I'm just trying to kind of try to make that interesting. So that's what I was trying in this game, I think.
If he stayed alive, held in ladder, could have waited to deny a bomb plant. Instead, I think Fitch sets him off, so he was better off just not moving at all. This late in the round again, they were obviously he was scared that they were probably going to.
Man, I sound like I'm straight up plugging my nose here, which is so funny because this is the exact same audio engineer that I had at DreamHack Winter, the exact same one I remember.
Aggress inner, so it was let me go.
But I didn't actually talk to him this time, so I remember he came up to us and he said, "Do you sound good?" And I said, "Yeah, I didn't actually listen to the VODs." But part of it is also because I'm not speaking from my diaphragm here, which is something, again, that I'm going to fix.
Make sure it's not an outside play, but they had the 5v4, so why?
It's not like I'm fucking scuba diving out here.
I throw that away, and I think Fitch could have tucked himself in and then used his teammate in ladder to just maintain a crossfire. Just sound fundamentals probably would have won that round. Instead, now they have to force up. James will be able to get an op, so that's something. And they haven't seen it quite yet, so they might run into this op shot if they're not careful. Congregation of the CTs outside the ladder.
One thing I'm definitely more concerned about, though, is that I'm not always focused on how I sound, it's what I say. And mental fogginess is a big thing. I did a whole bunch of tests with doctors, multiple doctors, a whole team, a whole school of doctors were all doing tests on me. No, I had my family physician, and I found out that I did a bunch of blood tests and stuff, and I found out that I had a vitamin B12 deficiency, and that apparently some of the side effects might be a lack of mental clarity, or an increase of mental fogginess, a lack of energy, a couple of things that I've been trying to eliminate and have been focusing on recently. So I started taking some vitamin B12, and I think it helped quite a bit. I was taking it while I was here too. But I just tried to bring up that base level performance so that even on days where I don't get to exercise, like I hurt my back here, that I'm never super tired. Because even though I have a deep voice, there was a point where I had a deep voice and I would just, no matter what I did, I was just tired like 6 hours into the day, which is so terrible for casting. But now I run, I eat well, I've got my vitamins in order, and I did all my blood tests, everything else is fine. And I feel like my energy is a lot better, to be honest. So hopefully the consistent level comes up a bit.
And Valiant seem to appear to want to move quickly.
And now back to the cast.
They've got one late person back in the CT spawn in between Ivy and T-Con. And I'm not sure what he wants to do. If he's going to try to lurk out of T-Con or just come back late for ladder.
Cut here to give Connor space.
Oh, I think he's lining up a smoke for outside. Just the whole rotates.
Had to fit that quick point in.
Yep, sure enough. He's going to flashes it as well, so it is very much Kickert alone. Just that CZ just dumpstered.
So big thing, obviously, with Train is that you can easily pull a Z rotator back to outside for just a second. And so if you time your smoke properly or use that smoke to actually push inside, then you can pull him on the other side of the smoke, and it's much more difficult to get back to the inside site, especially if Z's smoked out. So they just wanted to guarantee the 4-1. They don't need to spend a lot of utility to do it. They probably pretty much did it in the best way possible. And Avangard are in no position to hold. They fortunately only lose the CZ. And overall, it was kind of a force. So recycling these guns is massive. And Valiants would love to find them, but it doesn't seem like they will. They also don't know.
Yeah, this wasn't so bad. I think the only thing about this game, if I remember, is just it wasn't too fun. It was very serious, and with Avangard specifically, they play quite slowly. Valiants, at least they're on T side, they kept things at a pretty high pace. But certainly in games like this, where there's lots of time to talk, I should probably both Connor and I should take some risks and make some jokes and keep it a little bit lighthearted, at least in the beginning. As long as it's still like groups, you know, not in the semis.
From Valiants, they make it as easy as possible.
Yep.
It's kind of the goal every time. You force a team to save, that's awesome. Yes, they get to play again.
I heard this cool quote from Leffen, actually. It was that if you are unprofessional, some people will leave. If you are unentertaining, everyone will leave. And I always thought that was very interesting. That stuck with me for a long time.
With the same guns.
I think it's easy for me to be serious, and I actually think I have a pretty good sense of humor, but sometimes calling on that humor, sometimes I feel like I have to wait for it. Sometimes I can't bring it out, but if I'm going to be casting live and I can't decide when the humor comes out, I've got to take more risks and try to find ways to make that comfortable. We actually spent a whole season of Pro League focusing on that so that we could make jokes with each other and feel comfortable doing that in bigger matches, and I think it's worked quite well. But again, in this game, I remember trying to bring a new style to it, so I was a little bit more preoccupied with kind of my own game, if you will.
Closer to victory.
And there's not going to be anything really bought up around it, so same chances really here in the 6th. Valiants, meanwhile, making that bank, stacking that cash. And Avangard stacking a few grenades into their collection for this round. Where are they going to use them? James going to get aggressive. Doesn't want to get kind of, you know, stranded in the rotate and give away B for free, but I guess they don't fancy getting too aggressive.
Dude, they aren't even, oh, they mollied it late, okay. So they threw the initial flash, which is good, but you had a chance there to re-peek. But obviously didn't want to get off. He had gotten that pick in the past.
Look at this rotate.
Stop saying obviously, Launders. Thank you.
Oh boy. He's on for the full-on lurk. They're moving into the B site, so Nexa here just to try to backstab, and it seems like the read is correct. Bomb gets put into the hands of Esperanto, who's up front, but the CTs aren't here to stop them. But here's a good chance for our Valiants not only win this round, but get the exit kills if Nexa can flank.
He's starting to creep in now as they take that B site. Does he go all the way around?
Oh
Peace.
my god, dude.
Seems so. He'll be dropped by Jame eventually. So just that
Next
one
is so
AUG.
good.
Kickert's going to try to grab the AUG or the AK and save that too. But 4th round for Valiants in the opening 6 of their T side. That's a great position to be in.
Definitely. Very
Yeah.
sick entries, man, from
So,
Nexa.
actually, not so bad. I also do like when I drop the formalities a little bit there. Like I said, so good, man, or something like that. And, you know, just the raw reaction with Nexa coming out. I feel like reactions and the timing on reactions is one of the only things that I'm doing up to my own standards right now. But my voice is also starting to sound a little bit better. So I think I might have been cognizant or become cognizant during the match about how I might be nasally.
And he gets traded out by James, so they retain the most important gun. It is going to be another buy-up now for Avangard.
I think in general, across all these games, what we've seen a little bit too much of is just the bumpiness, the ums, the ahs, the you knows, the extended these, the extended ands.
It's a little sketchy CT decision by Fitch potentially. We'll see if they can clean that up because they still have been able to get 5v4 a lot of the time. They even get Letney on this round. So I think it's almost every single round they've gotten the first kill. Scary territory for Valiant.
So now I'm going to skip ahead. So in terms of energy, like it's fine. It's fine right now. We're at round 7. So I'm going to go ahead to later in the match and then see if that starts to pick up because it should. Otherwise, I'm fired.
Otto just sneaks out to Olaf. First time at way more kind of standard way to approach outside. Buster's going to take somewhat of an off angle over top of the smoke that will soon leave. And it seems like next.
It's picked up a bit, like 10-15%.
Who's got the reactions?
Who do you think's gonna win this one?
Buster.
Buster, okay. Oh, okay. Just time it. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, it came back.
Sanji gonna get cleared out. Doesn't expect Otto to be an Olaf.
I should take my time with that. Like, I kind of slurred my words a bit. I was like, who do you think is gonna win? It's like, who do you think is gonna win? Who do you think is gonna win this one, Connor? You know, like really own it. And then right after that, Buster comes out. He's like, oh, yeah, okay. He's ready for a fight. You know, finish that sentence properly. I think when I delivered it...
Reactions.
Who do you think's going to win this one?
Buster.
Buster, okay. Oh.
Like, oh, yeah, they're like, you know, try to own it a little bit more, I think.
It came back.
Sanji?
It just sounds more deliberate at all times.
Going to get cleared out. Doesn't expect Otto to be an Olaf. 0 ladder control for the moment. If Hunter does double back from B, then it's added to the tally. Thrown into the mix.
Super safe situation from the CTs, but there's no one inside.
Now they're going to have to throw one back.
Came at that one too fast.
Flash to clear Ivy. Green train is theirs. So
peace of mind on that one.
Yep. Getting little... Oh, no.
Oh, they think it's going to be inside, though. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, bad rotation, but Buster can still just lock down the cross. He's almost caught in the open.
Insane. 3
kills for him. On for the ace, but Fitch is going to add to the collection. And it's a 4th for Buster.
Okay. Big busty boy.
See how it's like just so quiet?
Right.
And it's working well for Valiant. They're actually getting outs into really aggressive spots. They even get the rotation out of Avangard they were looking for, pulling them into Z. When to us it looks like, well, they're about to attack A. It should be obvious. They haven't made any presence. It's kind of smart of them to avoid all of the Molotovs and stuff that makes train so difficult. However, Avangard, small lead in this half. Their T-side's going to be pretty terrifying, I want to say. And Valiants don't have great guns this round. Scout, 2 Galils, a MAC-10, and a player.
Okay, so that was DreamHack Rio that just happened. We were down there. I wasn't feeling my best. Honestly, a little surprised that I sounded kind of okay, in my opinion. I think I had a thinner voice going on at maybe at Blast. Let me see if I can quickly find a game from Blast that I can look at and just compare. But it seemed like at first I wasn't so happy about how my voice sounded, and then afterwards it started to get a bit better. So this, I don't remember wearing this shirt at Blast.
Kind of. They've been in transition period for a very long time.
Round 5, Astralis versus FaZe in Sao Paulo. So this is before Miami.
It feels like, and if they want to stick with Adrian, we can only give them so many ways.
Already so bumpy.
Ways out of the conversation of how are they underperforming? But here on Dust 2, Astralis have shown holes. They have close to losing a match versus both Ents and Liquid. And here, oh my God, Magisk 4 frags with the USP, all headshot, almost all.
There, I'm almost reserving my voice. I should be like Magisk and the 4 headshots. I feel like I'm almost whisper yelling in a sense when I don't need to be. So I think part of that is also speaking with my throat as opposed to my diaphragm. Also, I have no idea how loud that sounded on the VOD. I'm sorry if that just blew everything out.
Magisk 4 frags with the USP, all headshot, almost all.
Magisk 4 headshots with the USP, almost all
concurrently. That's
concurrently.
insane how quickly he got.
But now I'm like whispering like Magisk, oh my god, 4 headshots with USP. Oh. So I think well, first of all, I wasn't prepared for that early into the round, and already kind of a bumpy start with how this sounds.
Ways out of the conversation of like, you know, how are they underperforming?
I think in general, I just need to slow it down, totally be more relaxed. Might be a symptom of the fact that this is the Blast event. The last one was a DreamHack, so a more chill, relaxed DreamHack, but still I sound better there. So I need to kind of bring that over because there's no reason for me not to be relaxed. And it's funny because I don't feel nervous when I'm casting ever. I think it just be me and my brain, like circumstances, like this one take it more seriously, or this one be more serious, or this one be more energized, and just more acute awareness.
Here on Dust 2, Astralis have shown holes. They have like, I'm close to losing a match versus both ENCE and Liquid. And here, oh my god, Magisk 4 frags with the USP, all
Foaming at the mouth.
Headshot, almost all concurrently. That's insane how quickly he got those frags, and he's on for the ace, but Xyp9x is here at mid, the best mid-to-be player in the world, I want to say, to go ahead and steal that one away, but that doesn't take away from how magical that 4K was.
Oh, they all tried to, and Magisk has other ideas. He has been playing phenomenally so far this weekend.
I think this might have been one of the games where we had a bit of audio problems in the beginning.
Yeah,
D2,
all but overpass, right? So.
Yep. And it's just been Magisk and Device and Magisk some more, over and over, so it seems. And his team is still undefeated.
Peace.
And at times it doesn't even look close.
Man,
but,
his impact is palpable regardless of whether or not he's hitting shots. You know, the rotations that we saw being called on Dust 2, and you know, that's the one Astralis game we've seen so far. We don't even know what we missed because of all the simultaneous games running here at Blast Apollo. Here now in this maybe final Dust 2 match versus FaZe. It is important for Astralis in some sense. Like they set up, they can, first of all, they have the...
Was it this game, Astralis FaZe on Dust 2, round 5? This is Sao Paulo. I think it was at Miami where we did the same thing, but on stage on the same map. Okay, no, yeah, I think it might be.
Into the final without losing a map, but also it's one more map where their Dust 2 is understood. They're going to run it one more time versus a formidable opponent with like good players in a very simple setting, and they're going to see if they can have a dominant win. If they can't, then that's going to be worrying for them because Liquid and ENCE look good in every single map, including their ones that they lost versus Astralis.
Well, that was a drive-by. Just pops Guardian outright. Now.
He sounds so Canadian. Hey, no, right, hey. That was not a Canadian accent.
Towards his teammate. And Glave's hot on his heels. The peek comes the other way. He gets the kill, but with no kit, can't win the round. What's Nico up to?
I think this is one where I had an audio issue in the beginning. I would have obviously said something there.
But he was actually hit by the Nico push through mid.
It's not so bad for Glaive. He's here peering over top of an Xbox smoke, camping in plain sight in some sense. Olaf Meister not going to be able to easily spot him. Might notice him off of that movement, but instead it's Glaive to get the better of his Swedish opponent. Device is here at mid double doors, and he's going to spot a Shadow. 2 Deegs in the back, and they might steal this eco back as well.
This is not so bad. I've got some alliteration in there, which is good. My sentences are coming together. It was a bit of a bumpy start, though, so I got to clean that up next time. And I remember in the round 5 match of Miami, I started out casting too fast. We were on stage, and I thought just the energy from the crowd and, you know, we need to keep it going, as well as like started off hot, kind of pushed it into a zone where I wasn't being honest to how much action was in front of us. Like, we can only enhance what's going on in the game. If the game is trash or the game is slow, there's only so much we can do as casters. I mean, that is our job to kind of save the game in those moments. But if the game is an absolute disaster, sometimes commentators get blamed for it, when in reality it's the game that sucked. You know, like if you get cast a bad game, a really good caster is going to sound worse.
So much map control now.
But you have to, as a caster, be honest. Otherwise, it just sounds bad in both ways. You're watching a bad game, be honest about it. Don't get overly hyped about things. And then I think that comes across well as to the audience.
Going to clamp down on mid. Swift headshot dies. That's an...
He's just let them know exactly where he is. He's on 18 HP, and he's got a minute to kill. He has some utility to work with. Even getting a few kills here would be big, so Definitely going to be important to watch this. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes ahead and gets one. How many are you going to call it?
2.
2, okay.
I got...
I'm going to say 1.
All right. Well, we're both a couple of losers.
Right. I was going to say, and that's why we're commentators, but now I don't even know what that makes us. Like, so between $15,000 and $2,000 on everybody on FaZe, and for some reason they're buying into this round. They are going up against really good guns. They're going up against a lot of bank. This is not typically a situation where you do force up in response. You do play the economic game of chicken when the other team just barely scraped back an eco, but not only like kind of dominantly won it like that and recovered an op, retained a couple of AKs. Doesn't seem like there's a lot to gain here, and a very low chance of them actually pulling this win out. But maybe they'll make me eat my words. 3 smokes in play for FaZe.
I think it's good. One thing I realized there was if I don't have an interesting point to move along as quickly as possible, or if we make a joke that doesn't land, then just to quickly turn that into another sentence. So it gives no time for people to digest and react to something that was like lame or stupid or cringy. And I think I did that there, turned a boring eco sentence into just another sentence as we get right into the action. So that's good. And in general, I think we've watched quite a bit here. I've watched probably a lot more than you guys will see when this VOD is edited, but the video is already at an hour, so it won't be that long when you guys see it. But either way, I wanted to do this because I, again, want to log progress and I want to gain progress. And I think that this is getting 2 birds stoned at once, if you will. As the events roll on, come back, we'll do more commentary workshops, upload those intermittently, and then we can do deep dive on different aspects, maybe more focused next time, maybe just how I sound, maybe just the analysis itself, maybe how I've cleaned up my speech if I'm still kind of like tripping over my words like I just did right now, or any other criteria that I can think of in the future. And if you have comments and stuff like that, if you like seeing this stuff, you want to see more of it, let me know as usual. And no sponsors, store.boxer.gg if you want to buy a shirt. Listen to the podcast. The podcast has been a huge part of my week now. We've been doing that more often. We're trying to ramp it up. We've got a lot more listeners. It's become really fun. People are coming in on the stream all the time saying they're happy to hear the podcast. They like it. Come through, listen to the podcast, be a part of the podcast, and give us feedback. And always, as always, you can hit me up on Twitter. That's where I'll respond first any time of day. You'll get there ahead of everybody. My friends, my mom, everything. Twitter. Tweet me if you have questions or comments. Okay? Goodbye, everybody.